So we'll get into some of our beliefs that have driven our thinking for the last 8 or 9 years, or the world as we see it. The first thing that we sought to do was we wanted to eliminate disk access in the real-time path. So from a transactional standpoint, you want to be able to make sure that you're not bottlenecked by disk. So that was the first thing that we did. The second thing that you do when you actually bake the assumption of everything being in memory is you can do some very interesting things, right? You're no longer constrained by page-based design or having to fault in pages. If you make the assumption that everything that you need is in memory, it changes a whole lot of assumptions and allows you to do things much faster. So we did challenge the traditional relational database design in terms of its page-based usage of table space and so on. At the time, we were not necessarily going after SQL. We didn't think there was any problems with SQL. SQL is just a query language. So the typical relational database is, you have buffers primarily tuned for I/O. There is too much I/O going on. You're writing out these data files. Disk synchronization is a huge bottleneck, and there's too much focus on ACID. Now, this actually architecture was designed and was right for the time when it was built, when memory was expensive, right? Times have changed, and we believe that we've gone from there to what we believe where memory is the new bottleneck. So if you have to get out from your CPU L2 cache and get out onto the memory bus, that'll take you hundreds of milliseconds here. It should be milliseconds maybe. And as you start to increase the number of times you actually have to go out onto the address bus and go into memory, the time it takes to complete your operations increases significantly. Okay? So that's a sea change from where we were to where we are. So some of the basic concepts when we got started with this product was, the idea that it was a key value store. So you had an ID and you had an object associated with that ID was something that seemed very natural to most application developers. We wanted the store to be queryable. Obviously the idea that you have a map-like API that you can use to fetch objects, you can do high insert rates is great, but you also need some kind of a querying subsystem which is indexable and also needed to be transactional. One of the things that we did right, I think, when we started this project